Hey there, comic book fans. I am back from the comic shop again this week. This time I've got 8 new comics, 6 from my pull list, 2 I pulled off the shelf. Plus I've got a couple of freebies and a book that I got off of Lulu. I think I had to buy it through, which is a print-on-demand service. But first we'll show you our 2 museum top-of-the-printer comic book covers of the week. We've got Concrete, Think Like a Mountain. What number is this? Chapter 4, so it's issue 4. And we've got, which is a Paul Chadwick cover, of course, since it's Concrete, with a whole bunch of little babies. And Rom Space Knight, issue number 12. A Michael Golden cover with Jack of Hearts, one of my favorite Marvel characters as a kid. He was young with powers out of control, so that's what I liked about him way back when. Then they turned him into a space alien. I never cared since. I liked him in his first 4 appearances, and then But those were the 2 I had on top of my printer that I looked at the covers all week. And the book I got is called According to Jack Kirby. And this, who's the author? Michael Hill. This was in one of my Facebook groups, I think the People's History of Comics. Someone posted this there. Maybe him. I don't know. Maybe he's in that group, Michael Hill. I'm not even sure. Insights drawn from interviews with comics' greatest creator. And the sort of thesis of this book is, what if Jack Kirby's story was the truth? The thesis being that Stan Lee's story of the early days of creation of Marvel Comics has changed over the decades. Jack Kirby's and Steve Ditko's did not. So he takes to give Jack Kirby's story of how the Marvel Universe was created. He goes back to interviews from the 60s all the way up to the early 90s and tells you in Jack's own words what happened. I'm at the very beginning, so I can't judge it yet. But so far, I love comics history, so I know I'm going to love reading it. So I got that one to look forward to. Like I said, it's a print-on-demand book. So Lulu.com, I think it's Lulu, is a print-on-demand website service. So you would go there, and this is the only place I could get. It wasn't available digitally; it was only available physically. And I think the book itself was $20. Tax and shipping was around another $7, so I think I paid $27 for that book. A couple of freebies. Let's see what they are. These are posters that just happen to be sitting around. Looks like they're designed to be comic book bag sized, but they unfold into 24 by 36 inch posters. Let's see there was 20 different ones. What is this? The Savage Spider-Man one. I think I picked 2 almost randomly. Ah, man, I can't even get them apart. Let's see. I want to show them to you. I really do. There we go. Savage Spider-Man. Ooh, he looks like a giant spider. So there's that one. We'll just throw it down over there. I'll fold it later. And this one is Marvel Voices Spider-Verse. So I think this is the one with the all the different spider characters of all their different genres. There we go. Marvel Voices Spider-Man. I just felt like taking 2 just for the heck of it because they're free. All right, let's dig into some comics now. We have got Don't Spit in the Wind, number 2 from Mad Cave Studios. I was iffy on the first issue, and this is a creator-owned one, apparently, it said, from Mad Cave. Stefano Cardacelli and Dan Lee. And I kind of liked the art in the first one, but someone described it as it looks like it was drawn small and then blown up. It's got a weird line. And I wasn't enthralled with the first issue. I wasn't sure if I wanted to put on my pull list or not. But I liked the cover of the second issue when I saw it and went, all right, I'll put one more issue on. But it turns out it's a 4-issue mini, so I may as well get the next 2 issues too. So I'll probably get those. It's some sci-fi story of them cleaning up a world full of garbage. Is okay. The Thor story was a little thin. Then we've got, what is this? Ice Cream Man presents The Book of Necessary Monsters. This is Ice Cream Man issue number 35. Always good. I like Ice Cream Man. I guess it would kind of be an anthology horror comic. Maxwell Prince and Martin Morazzo. Illustrated by Martin Morazzo. How come W. Axel Prince gets his name big on top and Martin Morazzo gets his name little? What is that all about? I am not sure. Let's see who owns this. Let's see the copyright on it. Maxwell Prince and Martin Morazzo. How come his name is smaller? I don't know. Dark Ride, Williamson, Bresson, and Lucas. The team from Birthright. This is the story of a Disneyland type place, except it's dedicated to horror. And it's really possessed by demons. I mean, there's actual demons here, and there's a sub-story going on with them trying to do something evil. But the guy who runs it, his father is the one who made the deal with the devils in order to get this place up and running. So the son doesn't even know there's real devils hanging around. And there's murder mystery and stuff like that going on. So that's fun. Then we've got No One, issue number 3. This is once again part of, what is it called? The Massive Verse with Radiant Black and Rogue Sun and whatever Radiance they got. And this is a police procedural, mostly murder mystery kind of thing, but there's some superpowers like in the background of it, because being that it's part of the Radiant Black world, it's a superhero world, and this guy right here, who is No One, I think has superpowers as he takes out revenge on the rich and powerful in this town. And then the rest, there's a lot of police procedural stuff in it, too. I enjoyed the first 2 issues. Oh, I just noticed this is a take on Edward Hopper's paintings. What is that, the Nighthawks? So I've been enjoying that one. I've enjoyed the first 2. Probably enjoy the third one. Then we've got the Giant Cockjew. This is a giant monster story. I picked it up because Scott Koblish is drawing it. He's a friend from my Marvel days. He's drawn many comics over the last 10 or 15 years. He was an inker primarily for a lot of years. And he made the switch over to penciler and inking his own stuff too in general. This is just kind of a giant monster story run amok, but it's kind of adult. Because there's giant monster phalluses in it and stuff like that. So that's good. And speaking of Scott Koblish, I also picked up Fantastic Four number 7, just because he did this variant cover with a zillion characters on it. And I think issue 8 is gonna have even more. It's gonna continue with this one left off, and have a whole bunch more characters. But I think it was $6 I paid for it. Yeah, $6. But, I picked it up because I like this. All these characters, it's like all the characters who are ever in the Fantastic Four are in this cover, including somewhere Guard. I forget where he was. I just happened to mention that to him on Facebook. He's like, oh, you can find him in there. And sure enough, I did. Then here's the one I picked up off the shelf. Plan 59 from Outer Space issues 1 and 2. And this I picked up because I ran into someone at the comic shop who I hadn't seen in years. I didn't know him from working at Marvel, but I knew him because he worked at Wizard. And we used to have Wizard Marvel softball, touch football games in like the late 90s that both of us would play in. Darren Sanchez. And eventually, he went to work for Marvel. I think he said 8 years. I remember seeing his name pop up in Marvel stuff. He was like in the marketing department at Marvel, which I think he just quit a couple of years ago, he said, because I was talking to him there for the first time in 20 years. And he said that the writer of this book was Mike Dolce, who was somebody who also used to play in those Marvel Wizard touch football games we had. So I figured I'd pick these two. I know Mike Dolce has been doing, he's a writer. He's been like writing comics sort of his own stuff. Oh, look, there's all sorts of covers on the back for years now, but I don't think I've picked it up. But I figured since I knew the writer, I'd give him a look. So we got that. Plan 59 from Outer Space, 1 and 2. I'm glad both of them were there. And then, let's see, the last thing we got is Gatsby. Jeremy Holt and Felipe Cunha. And this is one that was supposed to come out in individual issues, but never did. And this isn't an adaptation of Gatsby. It's a take on Gatsby. And I think it takes place today. Welcome to the new Roaring Twenties. When middle-class Singaporean student Lu Zhao is invited to spend the summer on Long Island with his rich cousin Tommy, before attending Columbia University in the fall, his assimilation into the opulent American lifestyle straps him into a collision course fueled by designer drugs, sex, deceit, and murder. Set in present-day Long Island, Gatsby reimagines F. Scott Fitzgerald's classic novel as an LGBTQ-tinged multicultural thriller for the internet age. So that's what this is. As you know, I've been very into Gatsby, so I look forward to reading this. The art looks nice. Like I said, this was supposed to come out in individual issues, but I guess there wasn't a big enough order for them, so it didn't. Who put this? AWA Studios. There we go. So I look forward to reading that. Matter of fact, I recently, since Gatsby came out into the public domain a few years ago, there's a lot of Gatsby stuff. I just read this spring a Gatsby, once again, not Gatsby reimagined. I mean, this was not a digital one. I mean, this was not a graphic novel. It was an actual book. I think it was supposed to be young adult. It was a fairly short. Gatsby itself is a fairly short novel at about 220 pages. But this one took place, once again, it was more teenage, and it took place in the early 90s. But it was pretty well done, that book I read. And it came in at under 200 pages, like 180 pages. So I think it was supposed to be a young adult thing, but it read pretty well. So I'm looking forward to reading that take on Gatsby. Let me show you my latest Dreams of Things. The Gatsby painting I made. I'm not showing you right now because I put it down here. Whoops. To get it out of my line of sight for a while. And so I finished that one this weekend, and now I have to let it sit until I can look at it again in a week or so. But this is Dreams of Things 187. Some strange striped face guys. I like this one. They're just kind of looking at us. They're just kind of looking at us, saying there's no hostility in them. They're just kind of looking at us. Nothing too weird about them. Yeah, I think. At least I don't think so. You might. But I like these two people. They fill me with confidence. All right. So there you go. Little artwork, some comic books, and you guys have a good week out there.